But usually when we do our education or we hold our classes, it's very intimate. You know, it's just more of a conversation actually than anything else. So Leigh and I today, we decided that what's going to be the most powerful and useful thing that we can provide for all of you guys, and it is perspective. So we're going to bring a little bit of perspective from Australia, from our experience in the industry, and we're going to talk to you about a really important topic, which is the art and the science of pricing. Because, guys, there's two sides to the same coin when it comes to pricing our products. There's the art piece and there's the science piece. And Leigh and I are a bit of a power couple, aren't we, Leigh? We're a little bit of a power couple when it comes
Just
to
a little bit.
the art and the science. Who would you say is more artistically and who's the science?
You're the creative.
I'm the art.
Yeah.
And Leigh's the science.
I'm the logic.
So we're going to have a conversation. We would love to have the conversation with you guys as well, but we only have 30 minutes. So we're not going to be able to take many questions or have much of a conversation, but we're going to be around the room. If anything throughout the presentation comes up for you guys, please do come and see us and we can answer any questions or talk to you further about it. So Leigh, why did we choose to talk about this?
Well, first off, before we get going, I want to see a little show of hands. Who likes money? I want to see 2 hands from everyone. Everyone likes money. Good. This is going to work really well.
Y'all want a little bit more money in your salons, in your barbershops? Charge a little bit more for your services? Or who's scared to? Who's scared to put their prices up? Who's going to put their hands up?
More hands?
So nobody? Nobody? See, this is where the conversation piece comes in, guys. We're going to need a little bit of more show of hands, okay? So yeah, there's 2 sides that we're going to speak to you about, okay? So first and foremost, we're going to talk to you about the art. And secondly, we're going to talk about the science, okay? So, raising your prices, guys, it's not a want. You know, these days we see it on social media a lot. It's not really a want, it's more of a need at this point in time. And throughout this piece, we're going to talk to you about the facts. So there's the facts behind it. There's also the importance and the evidence. So the facts are, look around, look at society, look at what everything costs. Even when we're getting our tokens to get some coffee this morning, everything's getting a little bit more expensive. True? You know, every day I'm driving the car and I look at the petrol pumps, I'm thinking, oh, it's a bit more expensive. Every day that I'm getting a coffee, I'm like, oh, it's a little bit more expensive. And one of the most common myths that I've seen so far, since coming back to Ireland, I haven't been back in Europe for 5 years, one of the most common things that I've seen so far, or one of the most common myths that I'd like to bust, is the fact that Australia is expensive. Everybody says Australia is expensive. It's not really expensive. It's relative compared to what people get paid in Australia. So the facts are, guys, everything around us is rising. The water is rising. It has been for quite some time. We've been doing shows like this in Australia for a couple of years, and we speak to this kind of stuff a lot. Now look, it's not all about charging more for haircuts. It's not all about charging $100 for a haircut, but it is important. And there's plenty of evidence out there, Leigh, isn't there, to prove this true?
Plenty, yep. Look, I mean, like Owen was saying, we've come back from Australia, and the conversation that I'm having with everybody is everything is expensive, especially when it comes to barbers, and there's this big fear around rising prices. So we're going to show you a little bit about what could be behind that, and a little bit about how you can take some stuff away to potentially raise your prices within the next week, the next month, or the next 6 months, and beyond, to start thriving in business again. Because let's face it, guys, as barbers, not a lot of people understand this. We've been placed somewhere in society, but this is how we make a living. This is our living. And I'd like to see barbers live a little bit more rather than just survive. All right, so that's what we're going to dig into a little bit in the next few slides.
Cool. So the evidence that we've seen in Australia as well is there's a trend that you might have just seen in the VT.
On the intro
He's
video.
charging $300 for a haircut right now out of his mother's spare room. Now look, it's something that's happening. We have to take it into consideration. But the evidence is out there that people will pay more for a premium product. if and only if we can provide and show them the value, show them what it's worth. And that is actually a bit of an internal thing, right? So pricing is more of like the external thing, but the internal thing is really like, what do we believe? What is our belief system? Our internal belief systems. Because pricing is belief. It's as much about confidence as it is about reality. And that's what the art piece is. Okay? So in terms of evidence for ourselves, now this is the part of all of our shows that I hate the most. It's just showing you guys, what have we done? Because you might be thinking, who the F are these guys?
Who is that guy?
Who are these guys talking about this kind of stuff? But we've done it. We've trialed and errored it. You know, our business model is slightly changed now. We are in the training and coaching space in Australia. We don't have a barbershop at the moment. But, you know, some of the stuff that we've done over the years and some of the brands that we've worked with have allowed us to bring our prices up to $100 plus, which is the equivalent of 50, 60 euros. You know, when I stopped cutting hair about a year and a half ago for clients, I was charging about $150 Australian, which is about 80 euros roughly. And that was just for, you know, the most basic kind of haircut that you can get. Now, I know Amsterdam's expensive. I've had plenty of conversations, and I've seen that play out over the last 24 hours. I had quite an interesting conversation with one of our Uber drivers last night about the red light district. We won't talk about that right now. But he was saying, if you want the most premium service, you have to pay the most premium price. Doesn't matter where you are. So first and foremost, guys, I'm going to take you through, and Leigh is going to help me talk about the art of pricing. So this is the emotional side. So if we're to look at the art and the science, we have the emotion and the logic. Now, the reason I asked the question at the start of the presentation, who's afraid to raise their prices, is really just seeing where the emotions lay. Because what we do, guys, cutting hair in the people industry, we're in the people industry, and it's very emotional, right? We develop emotional relationships, emotional connections with our clients. And it's something that over time, you know, we don't want to maybe charge more. We feel a little bit of guilt, right? We develop a personal relationship. However, as I said a minute ago, the art piece, it's as much about confidence as it is about reality. You know, the reality is a much different thing. It's perception, okay? So we're going to talk about 3 points on this piece as well. So first we're going to talk about the story. What is the story that you're playing in your mind right now? And, you know, in our coaching group, Leigh speaks to people quite a lot about this when it comes to story about money, particularly.
Yeah. Story is huge, right? We all have a story around money, and our story generally is inherited. Most people don't really develop their own beliefs. They're actually inherited. Eoin has a great line. Most things are caught, not taught. And we usually catch our money story from whoever taught us about money. Parents, friends, teachers. And oftentimes, when we look at their lives, oftentimes it's not a great relationship with money, unless we were blessed and we came from that kind of environment. But in our experience, especially in our industry, there's a little bit of an interesting relationship with money and a story around it. So the story that you tell yourselves, have a little think about this right now, where you're at, right here, and think about, what is my relationship with money, and what were the lessons and the kind of energy around money? What did my parents tell me? Did I hear things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or money is the root of all evil? You know, I'm sure we've all heard these things, but when that story is told to us when we're young, that transpires when we're an adult. And that can form and frame a lot of what we think about money. It will not only come through in how we get money, it will come through how we attract money as well. We'll deflect it, but it will also come through our marketing and our branding. Every piece of content we put out, if there is a negative money story in there, it will come through. It will either come through as desperation, or it won't come through with conviction, and it won't come through with confidence. Everything is energetic in this world. Our clients, whoever watches that stuff, or how we deal with our clients, even in the barbershop, they'll feel it. They'll feel it. So it's so important that we address our money story. If there's anything you can take from this today, one of the most powerful things that will help you go from making just enough or not making enough to raising your prices and thriving in business for the rest of your career will be the story that you tell yourself about money. And for me, the story that I had to get over was the noble hard work story. You got to work hard for your money. What does that tell me? That money is also hard to get. And that's what we see a lot in the barbering world. Money is hard to get. We have to work so hard to get it. That means we hold on to it and we have fear around it. It's very constrictive. It's not expansive. Once we change the energy in the story around money, once we can change it from restriction to expansion, it's incredible what happens. The energy changes. We start to associate with people that want to pay us more money. All of a sudden, we're attracting people that will pay us 50 euros, 60 euros, up to 100 euros for a haircut. It's incredible what happens. So it's so important to go deep and think about what is the story that you tell yourself about money.
Yes, absolutely. And also, guys, what is the story that we're telling other people about our stuff, about our product? Think about some of the best brands in the hair industry, in the men's hair industry. We have some of them sitting right here. Menspire is a great story, right? People connect to the story. There's an emotion behind it. And that's going to make our consumers move towards something that they connect with. So that's where the art piece comes in, guys. The feelings that we get around the story that not only we're telling ourselves, but the story that we're telling other people as well through our craft. Okay? Some of the best storytellers in the room right here. We have some of the best storytellers here in the room. So what's the approach? That's the approach. Our brand, our marketing. So let's talk about some tangibles. How can you tell a better story that's going to trigger an emotion in people, the art piece of pricing, so that they start to see you in a different way? It's all down to belief systems, guys. Belief systems. And we need to influence, as best as we possibly can, other people to believe that we're worth more. But where does that story start? It starts with ourselves. It starts internally. We need to believe it ourselves first. And how do we do that? We provide the evidence to people. They're not going to think about it themselves. That kid in Melbourne who's charging $300 from his mother's spare room, nobody's walking past his house in the suburbs in Melbourne and thinking, oh, there's a $300 haircut. I'm going to go and get it. But he has 150 new client requests every single month because of how he tells his story. And how does he tell his story? He tells it through his brand. He tells it through his marketing. So guys, we're all hair cutters, but we're all content creators as well. If you want to do this really well and you want to make a lot of money from it, we have to be creating content, compelling content that's telling a story, that's captivating people, that has emotion behind it. The art. So keep remembering that, guys. It's an art. Communication is an art. We're still working on it, right? Part of what we're doing now is trying to tell a story.
And I'll add to the feelings piece as well. This kid that we talk about in Australia, he doesn't let his feelings get in the way of his business decisions. He doesn't get emotional about his money. And that's one of the tricky things. We see it all the time in our coaching group. Something we've done in this world is we've reduced everybody's value down to a dollar figure per hour. It's our birthright to be valuable. We're all valuable. Our worth is our birthright. And sadly, what we've done is we've reduced things down. We're worth X amount per hour. Now, it's very real, but I don't think it's true. A lot of people say, well, a haircut's worth this per hour, or I only think it should be worth this. It's real because that's our lived experience. It's definitely not true, though. Why is it not true? Because everybody charges something different. If there was a truth to it, there would be one price. But there isn't. We're all guesstimating what our hourly value is. It's our birthright to be valuable. That's why getting emotional about the figures that we put on our products is not a good idea. And that's where a lot of people, it's the first rule of investing. Warren Buffett will tell you that, the second richest man in the world. Don't get emotional about your investments. What is he really saying? Don't get emotional about your money. Because our emotions aren't reliable. We know that. Humans aren't reliable regardless, me included. If I just stick to my gut and my heart, it's not reliable. The heart and the brain need to come together. The emotion and the logic need to meet each other on a scale and play this game. And if we just go from what is it worth, what is our value, we end up with everybody thinking something different. We start to play into the emotions, and depending on our story, it can hold us back. If we have that little bit of fear, oh, I won't charge that, or maybe it's not worth that. They told me it's not worth that, so I won't do it. This is where we bring the logic and the science back into pricing. We like to turn it into a formula and a science, and what do we need, rather than how do I feel about this? Because we can debate all day long about what it's worth. Everybody in this room will tell you they're worth something different per hour. It's not truth, but it's definitely real. That's what we need to understand about money and pricing.
So what did I say at the start of the show? Pricing is one coin, but it has two sides, right? So the art and the science. We need to blend the two together. We can't get too emotional about it, and we can't get too scientific about it either, because we need to actually look at the reality. Are we good enough to even charge high prices for haircuts? Because that's the first place to start. On any journey, what we need to do is step on the scales at the start and weigh ourselves. Am I actually even worth this? Do I believe I'm worth this? So there's both involved. So that's the art piece, guys. That's the art piece. And now what we're going to talk to you about is the science piece. Because the science piece can defy a lot of the emotions that we feel, right? Like we might think, I'm afraid to charge my clients a little bit more. But what do the numbers tell you? What do the numbers tell you? You know? Do you have enough supply for the numbers? So, for example, again, I'm going to use this kid in Australia who's charging $300. The numbers tell him that it's $300. If he has 150 new client requests every single month, how can he fit them all in? So what does he do? He puts the price up, and people will buy it. The people who want it will buy it. The people who see the value in it will buy it. How is it that a pair of shoes can cost thousands of dollars? Same pair of shoes you can get retail for $160, $180, whatever it is that they charge, right? Supply and demand. Supply and demand.
And this is what I love about the numbers, right, guys? Like, this kid has 150 these are new requests every month at $300 to $350 a piece, which is what, anywhere around 170, 175 euros a month. 150 new people. And so it's just so important that he doesn't bring his emotions into that equation. Because if he did, things might fall apart. And there's a great quote that I love on this point. There's no amount of emotion that will change the numbers. The facts are the facts, right? We can think, oh, well, that's not worth it. It doesn't matter. Our emotions are built around our story, which we're told, we inherited from when we were young, like this big. There's no amount of emotion that changes the facts. If we're not making enough money, those are the facts. Our emotions don't change that. If we're making loads of money, that's the facts. Our emotions don't change that. If we've got loads of new clients coming in at $300, that's the facts. Whether somebody thinks that's right, wrong, worth it or not, it doesn't matter. The emotion doesn't change the facts, okay? And that's the art and the science side of pricing. And they both come together on the scale.
Absolutely. So supply and demand, guys. You just got to look at how much haircuts that you can provide. How many haircuts can I do in a week? How many clients do I have? When the demand outweighs the supply, you know, it's pretty simple stuff. Very simple stuff. But, you know, what I've come to notice over the years is common knowledge or simplicity or common knowledge isn't always common practice. Because again, we let the emotions get in the way, right? But there's an art piece that's involved in the science working well. Communication. It's all about communication. What we help our clients with in our coaching group is communicating their value so that they have frictionless experiences when it comes to raising their prices. And that requires a really, really solid plan. It requires a solid plan. Because if you plan for nothing, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it with 100% accuracy every single time. You'll end up with nothing. And you'll end up just doing the same thing over and over again for years on end, and the water's rising all around us, and we'll end up drowning, and that's just the reality. So we have to do something about it. And it's as important these days for us as barbers to be communicating our value, to be branding ourselves appropriately, to be marketing ourselves appropriately. Guys, we're content creators as well as barbers. Always remember that, and it requires a really, really solid plan. So that's what we help people with these days. We help people with planning, we help people with branding, and we help people with marketing. Because without those three things, it doesn't matter how good you are at cutting hair. How is it, get this one as well, how is it that some of the best barbers in the world, I've witnessed it in the UK, some of the best barbers in the world are charging 20 to 40 pounds for a haircut. Some of the worst barbers in the world are also charging 20 to 40 pounds for a haircut. How does that work? Imagine if Cristiano Ronaldo got paid the same as a Sunday League player in football. How does that work? We're behind. Barbering is behind. I'm just putting it out there. And we're here to help get it back ahead. That's why we have to start having these types of conversations. Okay? So guys, little free ebook download for you if you want it. I'm going to leave that on the screen for a second if anyone wants to scan the QR code. If you're thinking about it right now, should I raise my prices? I'm not really sure. Well, if you need 5 signs, now is your time to get it. And if not, all good. If you're happy with where you're at, all good. But you might need it in the future. I don't know about you guys, but do you ever find like $5 in your pocket or like $10 in your pocket and it's like amazing? It's like, oh my God, I just found this money. Or even better, if it's a bar of chocolate. You know, when you find a bar of chocolate or something in like a pocket of your thing, oh, it's the best Snickers bar I've ever had. Well, this ebook could be that for you as well. You might not think you need it right now, but you might later, okay? So guys, the next steps, we'll talk to you a little bit about practicality, because so far we've been just talking and talking and talking and trying to get our point across. But what is the next steps for you guys if you want to start adjusting your pricing, raising your pricing, increasing your pricing? Leigh developed this thing that we like to call the run-in. And this is a gem, guys. And if you have notes on your phone, if you have a little notebook, I'll be writing this down because this is a gem. Leigh, do you want to explain what the run-in is?
Yeah, so I'll give you a quick overview of the run-in. I won't have time to explain it all, but if you do want to come and dig into it more, we'll be around. So please come and talk to me about the run-in. The run-in is essentially, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's how you run in the new price. What a lot of people do, they'll come away from a show like this, they'll go home and they go, that's it. I'm raising my prices tomorrow. I just expect everybody to understand. What do we know about humans? Humans don't like surprises. If we raise our prices tomorrow, guess what?
Actually, wait. Put your hand up. Who likes surprises? You like surprises?
Depends what it is. Yeah,
everyone likes surprises?
Right?
What if you get home and your dog is after shitting on your pillow? You like that surprise? No. So we don't like surprises. We don't like change as humans. So yeah.
So if we go and raise our prices tomorrow, guess what? 50% or plus of our clientele are going to have kickback, right? That brings up our stress straight away. It's stressful to raise our prices. If we do it tomorrow with no run-in, our clients are just going to go, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? We developed a thing called the run-in. What we do, and there's a whole framework around actually setting this up properly, what we do is we introduce the price rise early, before we even do it. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however long we need to do, so we can handle all the objections early, so when the day comes that we do raise the price, we've had time to talk people off the cliff, we can handle any objections, we can settle people down, because people settle, right? It's just because it's different. People get used to it. Once it normalizes again, once you go from 50 euros to 60 euros, that's normal by the end of the year. They're like, oh, it's just normal. But it's the initial shock of the change that people don't like. So we use the run-in, we handle the shock, we handle the objections. All the while, you can expect to see 10 to 20% of people drop away, and people think, shit, what do I do then? That's what the run-in is for. If you give yourself 6 to 8 weeks, you're always marketing to new clients to fill the holes, so by the time the day does come, you've got a full column with new prices. Brilliant.
You know what it's like?
New policy, we're off to the races. And the cool thing about that, it's like a roller coaster. You just ride that roller coaster your whole career. Supply and demand. You are the supply. When the demand gets so big around you, price goes up again. We're constantly marketing, price goes up again. Constantly marketing, price goes up again. Before we know it, we're doing 3 haircuts a week at $400 and we're laughing.
Or you can just live like us and we don't cut hair at all. You know, you get to that point. So it's kind of like, what it's kind of like, it's like planting a seed, right? If we were to just present a new plant to our clients and say, here's $100 or 100 euros for this plant. Or if you give them the seed and they watched it grow and they developed a relationship with it over time, then they would see that plant as more valuable because they grew it and they came on the journey with that plant. Again, the art and the science, okay? So, we have a thing called the training ground. We're not going to leave you high and dry. Now, I'd love to see a few more phones out for this one because we're going to give you a resource library, a free resource library that has 4 to 5 hours worth of content on it, all around this stuff, okay? And what is the cost, guys? What's the cost of not doing it? I want you guys to think about, what is it that I earn right now? What do I earn per year right now? Everyone should have a pretty clear figure in their head as to like what they earn per year. And I want you to think about what do you want to earn? And I want you to establish the gap. So if you are earning right now 50,000 euros a year, and you want to earn 100,000 euros a year, the cost of taking no action is 50,000 euros per year. Just because you don't know what to do, right? Because we've all had that feeling. We've all gone to work and thought, I feel like I want a little bit more for what I do, but I don't know how to do it, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's a pretty expensive cost, 50,000 euros a year. So think about that, okay? So the training ground, I want to see you guys taking your phones out for this one. This is a free resource library, guys. You know, if you were to put a dollar figure on this, I would say this is worth about 10,000 Australian dollars. And it's free for you guys today. Where are the phones?
You take loads of pictures as well, please.
Nice.
Branding, social media.
This isn't selling you anything, by the way. You don't have to buy anything. We're talking about pricing. You don't have to buy anything. You can just take the stuff. Okay, so this is the training ground. And guys, if you want to book a call with us, you want to have a further conversation, you can do it around the room here today. We're around for free calls and free consulting around the room today. And if you guys want another little download, 5 ways to attract 5-star clients, because that's what we want, right? We want good quality clients. Then here's another free ebook download for you guys. So guys, I'm going to go back to, that's it, I think. It stopped working. Presentation's over. So guys, quick recap. We're at the end now. We just got we got the sign to get off the stage. They're saying, get off. We don't want you to talk about pricing anymore.
I'm not leaving.
Guys, recap. There's 2 sides to the same coin when it comes to pricing. We have the art and we have the science, and both are required if we want to do this effectively. And why is it important? Because it's our living. It's how we make a living. It's how we feel about ourselves. Okay? We need to be thinking about more than just getting better at cutting hair. Because it doesn't matter how good you are at cutting hair if nobody knows about it. Or if you're not getting paid well for it. Eventually you're going to stop being good at cutting hair because nobody fucking cares anyway. And I'll just throw that F-bomb in there for the end because for dramatic effect. Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
If anybody wants to have a conversation, we're going to be around for a few hours. Really appreciate it. We're going to go back to Australia now and keep talking to kids who are making $300 a haircut. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Thanks, Barber Society Live, for having us. And we'll see you soon.